Hi guys, welcome to today's training class. We'll be going over Glaser Gas's Bobtail and storage tanks. We got Don out here from Glaser Gas. Is going to go over all his safety procedures and safety products built into his equipment. So here's Don.
All right, so we're here at Glaser Gas Bulk Facility. We have 3 bulk tanks, 90,000 storage total. Each tank is 30,000 gallons. Just wanted to familiarize you with the safety shutdowns and the safety systems we have in place. So there's 3 emergency shutdowns at this facility. All of them are clearly marked. Propane emergency shutoff. Push to close, pretty obvious push to close. It closes the liquid valves on all 3 tanks. Once it loses, you can see the manual ones there. Close. This one's updated system here. It's you can't see it. It automatically resets. These you have to manually reset. That one automatically resets once you pull it back out. Did you hear it? Yeah. You heard it reset on that one. Yeah, that click resets it. So what that does when you shut that down, that shuts all the liquid lines coming out of the tank. So the liquid lines are designated red. It shuts all those liquid lines out. The state oil inspector, they only require them on the liquid lines. We do have it on the new vapor line here, and we are updating the vapor lines here to put them on all the vapor lines.
So I'm okay in thinking that if I were to grab that red lever, shut that down, that's shutting down specifically to that tank.
That is correct.
So for whatever reason that was a compromised tank, we can shut that down individually.
Yep, exactly. Okay. Yep. All outlets on these tanks have excess flow valves. So the way it's designed to work is if you compromise a hose or if you compromise a line, it breaks. At full flow, they're designed to shut down. Liquid and vapor. Okay. Any outlets. So they also have relief valves on top. Each tank has its own individual relief valves. Of course, if you're introducing too much pressure, it'll open those relief valves, and once it relieves the pressure, they're designed to shut back down after it opens.
So that's when we get to fill the fuse.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's exactly right. This plant is also designed with emergency pullaways. So if a truck is hooked up to this and they pull away, this is designed. This breaks away from it and it shuts off all flow. Yep. It has shutdown right here in the system. Yep, it's got a backflow. So the only thing you would lose is what's between here and here. So both ends have a shutdown. So when you pull away, both ends shut down. The plant side shuts down as well as the truck side. So we did get a test of one a couple years ago. A truck pulled away. It pulled away from the top there, so the hoses go with the truck too. He pulled away, everything worked like it should. We were able to put it all back together, performed just fine. Yeah. So, yeah, exactly. So this bulk plant has 3 loading stations. It has a bobtail loading station on that side, has a bobtail loading station on that side, and then where we're standing is designed for a transport. When a transport hooked up, he's hooked up in 2 positions. He's hooked up here using the pump on the transport. The back one uses the hard-mounted pump to pump out of the back. So he's pumping out of 2 locations when they unload a transport here. The second emergency shutdown is over at this stanchion. Emergency shutdown here, and then an emergency shutdown at the end of so if you have to get away, there's one remote that you can get away. Yeah, right, that you can get away from. Also push to close. Electrical shutdown, of course, is at the meter box over there, shuts all the electrical down. So as far as safety systems, that's basically what's built into this plant. Pretty much state-of-the-art with what's available out there today. So.
Transfers, do you have to worry about grounding at all?
No, we don't have to worry about grounding. The plant itself's grounded, so we don't have to worry about grounding. Nice. So there's actually grounding rods on each tank that go into the ground. So the tanks are grounded. Once we hook up, we're grounded. So
this system, when it's being filled, is it a self leveling type thing. So these are all open. It's drawing. If they're pulling from it, it's drawing off all three. If they're filling, it's filling all three.
Yes.
So.
Or we can isolate individual ones. Yeah.
But if you were to be filling and say this one's a bit more full than the middle, once this is full, it's going to know. The system's just going to put.
Well, what happens in this system is they will equalize. So that's why all the tops of all the tanks are level. So nothing will overfill. So you see the third tank over there is a little different shape.
Right.
So we have the tops level, so they can never, because it will transfer liquid from tank to tank. Okay. So the tops are level; it'll never overfill any of the tanks.
Got it. Okay. And the reason I'd asked is I thought it looked like there's a little bit different. Readings.
Yep. Exactly. Okay. Exactly. You'll see some plants that the tanks do not sit level. They have pipes coming out of the top. So if it's basically an overflow that'll transfer from tank to tank. We do it level, so it does it on its own. It's dummy proof then. So yep, exactly. Awesome. Yes, sir.
This is the manual. Only the two left tanks have the manual. That one's automatic.
Yep. Well, this is automatic shutdown, but it's manual reset.
Okay.
Yeah. So to reset them, you just have to reset the valves, and then they're open again. And that opens everything. Those run on propane vapor, so we have it hooked right into the propane vapor system, so you don't have to worry about running out of air or anything like that. It supplies its own vapor right through.
So the red is liquid?
Red is liquid.
What's your yellow?
Yellow is vapor.
What is your vapor? Okay.
Yellow is the vapor lines.
Got it.
Yes, sir.
Liquid. Vapor.
And now what is, okay, so if there was an issue as this system's running with your vapor line and that shut down or whatever, what is the benefit or the negative to those two not working in conjunction with each other? So if there was an issue with your vapor line, what would that do?
It's more controllable just because it's in vapor. You don't have, it doesn't, the liquid expands 270 times. The vapor's already expanded, so it's more controllable. If you have a problem, you're able to shut it down more readily, manually. Yeah. As you notice on the end of the lines, they do have shutdowns. They're old manual shutdowns. Mm-hmm. They weren't very reliable because they were on a cable system. So they do make like I said, the automatic shutdown. If you look on this tank, it does have the automatic shutdown and reset. Okay. We're going to retrofit these other two tanks for that. Just haven't got that done yet.
So you can have a compromise to the vapor line, and it's not necessarily going to put the entire system into some critical.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Exactly. Yes. Yep.
And I always think of those types of things because that's the stuff that's out where somebody could clip it with a truck or something.
Right. Yep.
Hopefully not regularly. But
yeah.
It is a little more exposed.
Well, and that's why we put why the stanchions are there. If you have a pull away or something like that, it is strong enough to where it won't compromise the piping systems. That's why they're designed like that. So, yep. All of it's Schedule 80 pipe. So it's heavy duty pipe. We try to maintain a good bulk plant, as you can see. Yeah, this is
it's a lot cleaner than some of the competition.
I won't comment about that. My biggest worry about a fire is that right there.
Yeah, us too.
Just because of, how everything's stacked in there. We try to keep everything separated. You'll never see cylinders stacked around this plant. You'll never see tanks stacked around this plant. That's what causes the problems when you have an external fire source that's putting heat on the plant, that will cause a levee or something like that. So most of our tanks that are stored in the yard are either just have vapor in them or they're still under vacuum because they're new tanks. So we rarely have them stored with fuel in them. If we do, it's an odd one that needs repair or something of that nature.
But at least it's out away.
Yeah, but we keep it out away from the main plant for that reason. Bobtail. So I went ahead and just hooked this up so you can kind of see what the configuration is when we're filling. This is your basic configuration. You have a liquid line and you have a vapor equalization line. When you're filling the truck, the vapor equalization line just equalizes the pressure between both tanks so you don't over pressurize when you're filling the truck.
And is this a pretty standard setup then? If we were to go anywhere, our liquid line's usually going to be the bigger,
Correct.
and then our vapor line's
Yep.
going to be a small.
Yep, that's pretty standard. Yep. You'll see a lot of I don't know of any other plant around that has the towers. The towers serve two purposes. They keep the hoses off the ground from vibrating when you're filling. I know we used to have problems with hoses vibrating on the ground, and they'd wear the bottom of the hose from the vibration on the ground. So it keeps them off the ground, and it does have the the safety features on every one of our stanchions, even the big 3-inch hose. So we carry remotes now. This is a DOT requirement that you carry a remote control, and all remote controls have an emergency stop on them. This is this model, so we carry these on us. This is what we're required to carry these when we fill tanks, when we do anything. This is in our hand. If we push the emergency stop, it not only shuts down the pump, it shuts down the motor too. It shuts down the truck completely. So everything gets shut down. It shuts the belly valve. These trucks, the belly valves are controlled by the air system. So once you shut down the truck, it drops off. These are closed right now, but they're all air operated valves. So once you shut it down, it drops the belly valve, so it shuts the flow of liquid out of the truck. So the truck also has a manual shutdown on the side. This emergency shutdown, this will close the belly pump or the belly valve. Once you hit that, it doesn't kill the truck, but it closes the belly valve, so it stops the flow of liquid coming out of the truck. One thing you might run into is we have a vapor system that controls our meters. This one has a little heavier duty hoses, but a lot of the vapor systems you'll see have a smaller 3/8 hose here. That's one that likes to come apart. Just because of vibration and stuff down the road. So I know we had one at our facility in town where it rubbed a hole in the hose, and over the weekend it was leaking, and you could hear it. It was an audible leak. All these outlets have shutdowns on the truck, manual shutdowns. This would be your liquid shutdown. That'd be your vapor shutdown.
So
that shuts down.
Options to go to segregate the shutdown if it's a minor issue in one area. We don't necessarily have to default to killing the whole system each time. It could be something that can be handled in immediately.
That is correct. That emergency shutdown, like I said, it shuts the belly valve, so any flow that's coming into the liquid hose, out of the truck, it'll shut everything down that way. So these are also equipped, all valves that leave these trucks also have excess flow valves mounted in the tank. So if you have a complete break of a line or something, it has an excess flow in them. So those excess flows are tested monthly on these trucks, so we do know they work. So it's a pretty important thing when you're running these things. So but yeah, this one, like I said, it has air shutdowns on this truck. A lot of the more modern trucks have those. Some of the older trucks don't.
So I'm assuming is that kept in this compartment, or is that...
This kept in the cab. This is kept in the cab. Yep. So this is your delivery hose. This is the hose that we would hook up to a tank. So this is basically a standard hose that you hook up when you're filling a tank. Okay. This has a a locked off, shut off. You can't. It won't just open up. When you have this hooked up to a propane tank, the valve it is hooked to is a brass valve. If you were to drive away from the tank, it's designed. That's the weak point, that brass. So if you're driving away from the tank, it snaps that off. Has happened. I've seen it happen twice since in my 32 years. Somebody's driven away from the tank, worked just how it should, broke off at the tank, shut the valve down, and he dragged it down the road a little ways, realized what he'd done. So they did perform, it did do what it was supposed to do. So this is a vapor equalization hose on the truck. Same thing as this one here. When you're hooked up to a tank, especially when it's hot, you hook that up to equalize pressures. Because it's easy to overfill a tank this time of year when, with these, it's cooler now, but when the hotter temperatures, it's easy to overfill a tank. So we hook those up, make sure that we don't get an overpressure situation.
So is that ultimately the idea of you can hook up and then you can be away from it and still control?
Correct.
And not have to be standing right here?
Yep, correct. Some of the older trucks still have manual controls. They don't. The only thing they have on the remote is the emergency shutdown that they carry. So some of them do have manual controls still. All of our trucks now are remote controlled. So we can shut the truck down from the tank or wherever we're at. So, yep, exactly. Yep. So, as I said, this truck is powered by propane. This propane system, it's a direct injection to the engine. I believe this is a 110-gallon tank we carry on here. Well protected with the cage. We actually had a truck roll over out east of town. He rolled into a ravine that was full of rocks, and the tank was laying against the rocks. It never even dented the tank, never hurt it. I mean, they're made out of steel. They're not sheet metal like diesel tanks. Right. Yeah, yeah. But these tanks also have excess flows, just as all the other propane tanks, and the shut-off valves are located right here. This shuts off the liquid to the motor, so that'll stop all flow coming out of the tank. This is actually the filler hose.
Now this is a separate system from this.
Correct.
So this is not feeding off a bleeder.
Nope.
That's okay.
Nope.
So if
totally
we have
separate.
an issue with this, we're not having to worry about
Nope.
this continuing to backfill.
Nope,
Okay.
totally separate.
Good.
Yep, the fuel pump's mounted in the tank. It's totally separate system from the bulk tank.
That's good.
So that feeds the engine. So, yep.
What kind of mileage do you get on that thing?
We get about 7 to 8 miles a gallon.
Okay.
So comparable to gasoline,
Right.
you know,
But cheaper machinery.
and adds horsepower from gasoline. Adds about 25% horsepower from gasoline. So, but it's about a third the cost of diesel when you're burning it in the motor.
Bottom
So,
line, that makes a
Probably
big
an
difference.
overall cleaner system.
yes,
So
burns
less
very clean.
maintenance issues.
Very clean, no carbon. It's the cleanest burning motor fuel there is, propane. So cleaner than natural gas, cleaner than anything. So, yeah. So that basically covers that. So
What is the capacity of this stuff?
this is a 2,600 gallon tank. You'll find them anywhere from 2,000 to Roggins running some 5,000s. Those big twin screws, they're running their 5,000 gallon tanks. So you'll find them, a big variance there in the size. So, yep, most of ours are 2,600s. We've got one 3,400. So pretty standard. So. Do you want to do any house tank stuff? You're probably familiar with those. Yeah, the house tanks.
Assuming these units over here are all empty, just waiting to be sold
Yep.
to properties,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So no concerns with if any.
They do have vapor. A lot of them have vapor in them. The new tanks, which the green ones there, those are brand new tanks. They're under vacuum. They ship them to us under vacuum, so we know that they don't leak if they have vacuum in them still. And then we methanol them to trap any moisture and then pressurize them on site. So if you see us driving down the road with a tank on our truck that doesn't have a placard on it, that's probably why, because it's a brand new tank. It's never had product in it, so we don't placard them.
That's good to know.
Because a lot of times you'll see a truck going down the road and say, oh, why isn't he placard? That's probably the reason, because it's never, and it's illegal for us to placard a tank that's never had product in it. So if we're running down and DOT pulls us over and we got a tank under vacuum, they'll say, well, this doesn't have anything in it, why is it placard? Now, if it has vapor or if it's had product in it previously, we run placards. So if you see a if you see a transport going down the road with a placard, it either has, we can only haul them with 5% product in them, so by law, unless it's an emergency and we have one that we can't pump out or something like that. So, but typically we'll haul them, they'll be hauled with 5% or less product in them down the road. So when they're on our boom truck, so.
That makes sense. That's really good to know.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah, exactly. You pull up on a truck hauling a propane tank and it doesn't have placards, you're like, what is this? So, but.
Yeah, and I have a Class A license, and it wouldn't have been, so I would have just assumed that you're
Right.
just going to placard that tank based on what it
Right.
could or would carry.
Exactly, yep,
So that is
yep.
good information.
Nope, it indicates to you when you pull on the scene that, hey, this thing doesn't have propane in it. Never had propane in it, so.
But can
So
be under pressure. If
it has to be placard. If it's had product in it, it has to be
Oh, so
placard.
with the vacuum, it's the opposite.
The vacuum, it's the opposite. Yeah, it's never had product. It's never been introduced propane. So it changes the hazard.
Right, right.
When you pull on it, I don't see placards. It's probably
There's no
brand new
residual, there's
tank.
no nothing.
Yep. Yep, no residual in it. So, and that tank over there, it doesn't have anything in it. It's an old tank. It used to sit in town at our facility in town. We had bulk storage. We had an 8 and a 12 in there, and they were happy to see us move those out. Out of
Right there in
town.
the heart of town.
Right, we were right in the middle of
Trust me, we
town.
think about it every time we drive by.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
of course, you're behind the oldest 3 or 4 buildings in
right.
in Kiowa.
Yep, yep. So, but yeah, but our bobtails, you know, we have them inspected every year. You can see the tests are done. They get a external visual and a leakage test every year, and then the hydros now are every 10 years. They changed that law about 5 years ago. They're every 10 years we hydro them. So.
And I was noticing too, you guys even use a
Yeah, it
like
helps.
a rock guard on the
Yeah, it
bottom.
helps with that. Well, it helps with the mag chloride, and it helps with the rock chips. You know,
Yeah. That's great because you don't.
that
see
mag chloride's so bad on stuff. It just
Well,
you
out here they love to overdo that.
it's-
It's easier to go throw a bunch of that down than it is to actually plow the road.
right. Yeah, and it gets terrible. So, but like I said, we have a maintenance schedule on these trucks that I believe second to none. You know, they're well maintained mechanically as well as physically. So.
Well, Don, that was very informative. I appreciate you
Yeah.
taking the time to do this with us today.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you need anything from us, just let us know, and we'll be more than happy to facilitate.
Same way. Yep, same way. You can always call me. I know TJ over at Elizabeth calls me on occasion when they're on a call and says, "Hey."
Right.
You know, it's a good thing to have a phone friend for that situation.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yep. Yep. I've been in the business for 32 years and I've seen just about everything. So.
Well, we were pretty. I mean, not only the bypass route, but I think there's we have 7 of these locations just in Kiowa's
Right.
district, right? And that's-
Right. Yeah.
so we really do have a heightened opportunity to be involved with
Yes.
this stuff, so it's good to get the.
Well, and like I said, I'd rather have you familiar with what you're showing up to than showing up saying, "What am I looking at?" You know, if you kind of know what's going on, and your volunteers especially, you know, you get a volunteer that doesn't know, and you know, if they can go through a training video and learn a little something, I think it's valuable for
absolutely.
everybody involved. So.
Well, just this component.
Right.
I don't think any of us realize that's a huge difference there.
Yeah, a lot of guys are running diesel still, but like I said, we've always tried to run propane power and promote our own product, right?
Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah, no doubt. It's a good advertisement.
Yeah. So. This is our parent company, Glaser Propane out of Callahan. They transport all of our product. So they maintain their trucks well too.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say it looks very, yeah. But that's more often how we picture it is we're gonna have a vehicle issue that's gonna be attached.
Hi, Lloyd.
Hi guys.
These gentlemen from the fire department, I'm just familiarizing with the bulk plant.
Okay.
They want to kind of see what it's about.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Lloyd.
How you guys doing?
Yeah, I didn't mention
Not too bad at all.
All of our valves get locks on them. Those have locks, and those are all boxed, so nobody can turn on the valve.
Perfect. Just safety locked out.
What's that?
Just a safety lockout.
Yeah.
Yellow paper, yeah. Yep. That locks the brakes when you open the door, locks the brakes.
Liquid, vapor.
That'll use this pump, and then he has a belly pump, and pump off the pump, so it's pumping off 2 locations. so you can get unloaded faster.
So
Okay, so I see what's going on. So the breakaway is from there, not the truck. So, okay, that's how we can drive off potentially. That
Close it off there, close it off there.
Okay. That makes sense. I guess I was looking at it the other way around. Now it's just
This one's really famous for it, I guess.
Yeah.